Hello! Long time no see. So anyway, yeah, it's been a while, but I'm finally back. And I guess you could say that we survived the semester. So I don't think I changed a lot this semester at all, but I think I learned more about myself, if that makes any sense. I definitely just know a lot more about who I am and what I can do. It's not like I changed, though, and I think that's very important. Um, and yeah, that sounds exactly like any college, like naive thing to say, but it's true, I think. And this next semester I'm really excited for because there's a lot more to still learn, and I'm excited. So for this video, essentially I want to address two things. One, life philosophy, because we never finished that, and two, your question about women and whether or not it's still hard for them or not. Yes. So philosophy. I've had a lot of time to think about it, and I don't think I could have answered this question in the middle of the semester. I feel like after fall break, things really, or not fall break, Thanksgiving break, when I came back, things really all fell into place. And so I'd have to say that when it comes down to it, my philosophy has a lot to do with decency and bringing back decency and just being good to people in general, and good to yourself at the same time. That's a very difficult balance, I think, and it's always been a problem for me, as you may or may not know. I think the best example kind of is how things went with Nick, and as much as I wanted to do right by him, it was always at kind of my expense in the end. So I think that that's still me, and I like that. I'm willing to do that for people, to always give them the benefit of the doubt, especially if I care about them, even if I don't even care that much about them. I am willing to do above and beyond for them, because I believe that, it's just fundamentally, as people, they are worth something. And I know that I joke around, and sometimes I do have moments where I really hate people, but at the same time, I do still believe that everybody has immeasurable value, and that it's not about, oh, their dignity, they don't have dignity because they are humans. It's more like they have dignity because of who they are, specifically their identity, and no one else has that. And that's just something I personally believe. And so that brings me to my philosophy that it's important to bring back decency, especially now when you look at the news, and I feel like snark and cruel wittiness is kind of the biggest trend on the internet, with all these clever memes and this culture, Tumblr culture. I love these things too. Like, don't get me wrong, I go on Tumblr and I'm not trying to be a hypocrite, but the truth is that there's something about it that I think is just wrong, and I think that people need decency, and I think it's something important to bring back, So to treat people with love, and to really, in the end, at the very least, love yourself, I think is really important. And it sounds so cheesy, but it's really, really important when you're out there and you're not necessarily alone, because what I've realized is that I always have people like you and so many others who care about me, but it's just very different when you're not necessarily with them, or when you have so many things going on in your life that it can feel isolating. And that's a huge problem in the modern world with existentialism and all that crap. But it's true. There is something very isolating and hard about how we're built and how we're made. I don't know if it's how society has shaped us or how our environment is now, but it's definitely hard and a lonely place if you don't realize that you need to love yourself and appreciate it, even if you do make the worst mistakes, I mean, if you can give the level of forgiveness that you give to others that you care about to yourself, then that's, I think, a huge thing. And not even I can do that sometimes. It's hard to realize. And I think that is important. So that's my philosophy, kind of. It's still kind of in progress, and I wrote down this whole letter to myself about it. And, it's just focusing on forgiving and love and decency. And that sounds maybe crazy, just a little, I think, but it's true. And that's just how I view things, and I think it's a good way for me to work through things, and I like it. Anyway, and this is something that is still true. It's the same thing with racism. These things are very much still part of our society, especially because of those very subtle things in the media, the jokes, and it's not at all eradicated. And women definitely don't still have it easier, especially if you think about rape culture and how people still want to say that it's a woman's fault for getting raped. It was what she wore. She drank too much. We're taking away all her responsibility in the situation. I think that's bullshit, and I don't think anybody ever asks for it. And I think that there is still this idea that, rape culture is an industry, and colleges are hypocrites because they'll give out condoms and all that stupid stuff, but they don't do anything when fraternities are reported and athletes are reported. And the truth is that's a big problem, yes, but it's not an industry, and I don't think that you should discount it because you think it's something that was socially constructed. Rape culture isn't socially constructed. It's a thing. People joke about rape all the time, and it's not funny. I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but Yale had this problem with fraternities, and they would chant, no means yes, and yes means anal. Okay, yeah, they thought that was really funny, but the truth is, it's one of those things that is very subtle. That one particularly wasn't subtle, but things like that are subtle in jokes in the media, and it's just not funny when you think about it. And all the people who actually are hurt and don't speak up because they'll be called liars, or people will tell them that it was their fault because of how much they drank or where they decided to go that night. I mean, yeah, it's common sense not to go to a fraternity, but is it really a girl's fault for going, or is it because the fraternity shouldn't be acting like that? The character of fraternities is not meant to be a huge party where people are patriarchal apes. That's not what it's about, and it shouldn't be about that if that is what it's about. And that's why I'm really grateful Bowdoin doesn't have fraternities, if we're being honest, because from what I've learned from visiting other schools, especially like Harvard, and seeing final clubs and fraternities, it's obscenely sexist. And yeah, you can go along with the argument that, oh my god, no, oh, it's so much easier for girls. They get to run the party scene because they can get in anywhere. Well, yeah, that's not the same thing, because in the end it's socially constructed by men, because it's upperclassmen guys who are the ones who only let girls in if they look pretty enough, or if there are enough of them. If they have boobs, let's be honest, and it's wrong. And not only there, but it does evolve. It evolves into the workplace and in the home. And the thing is, I'm not trying to have a feminist rant, but one of my professors was telling us about this, and that's the brownie alarm going off. Excuse me, brownies, 1 second. Right, so basically what my professor was trying to tell us was that women today, feminism isn't about, being the CEO or being whatever, breaking that glass ceiling, or any of that stupid shit. You don't have to try to be both a mother and a CEO, or, you know, you don't have to be anything. It's about the choice. And you shouldn't have to feel like you need to be this ambitious woman if you're not. And if you just want to stay at home and not work and take care of your kids, that's fine. I mean, that's what you want to do. I don't think that feminism should be this movement that, yeah, women should, you know, have that level of ambition and dominate the workplace, because they're definitely, you know, might be that feeling, I think, for some people that, you know, they would feel bad. They would feel like they were betraying something, like the women who paved the way for them, if they decided that they just wanted to raise their kids and get married and have a house. Like, there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want, and there's nothing wrong with that if you want to be a successful woman. You don't have to be both. You don't have to be neither. Like, there's no pressure, I think, and I think, or there shouldn't be pressure. And I think it's a choice. And I think that's what's most important when we're talking about feminism. I think it's about the choice to do what you want and the ability to do it. It's about equality. And that's just, I mean, I could go on a rant about so many things from there, but that's what I wanted to get through. It's not a crazy feminist rant, and it's ridiculous when people try to make that argument, and it just gets worse when they keep trying to argue their point. The fact is, some people are just going to be like that, and no one's ever going to have it easy in this world, no matter what, based on race, I have a list for now, based on race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, and, I mean, it's not something we should accept, it's something we should work to fix, but we just need to make sure that when we're fixing these things, we're not making it worse. Social appropriation and, like, political correctness is another problem, and being overly politically correct is stupid. So it's a hard and difficult line to straddle. And you're never gonna have a utopia, but the point is that you work for it. And so that's my take on it. I hope you have a different take, because I would love to hear it. Or if you just have more thoughts to add, because I would love to hear that too. And hopefully I see you soon, actually, because, today is December 24th, 2014. Ha ha ha, I can't talk. So yeah, we'll talk about a lot of things. For example, Boston/New England accents drive me crazy. Just stories, like highlights of the first semester, and I don't know, I'm happy we're through it, and I wouldn't do it over again, I don't think, but I definitely know that it wasn't the transition I thought it was, and it was difficult, but I'm here now, and I'm almost disproportionately happy with school, and I want to go back so badly. I'm going back January 4th for leadership training, as you probably know, and we're going to be in a cabin in the woods in Maine, and I'm going to do wilderness first responder training, and it's going to be a ball. So, let me know what other thoughts you have on philosophy, or my philosophy. You can just tell me what you think. And women, and rape culture, and social appropriation. I actually have to tell you a cool story, not cool story. I was going to say something else, but then it just vomited it out. I have to tell you a story about how Bowdoin got in trouble for social appropriation. Not Bowdoin, our lacrosse, some of our boys' lacrosse team. It was, I think, blown out of proportion. But there are many ways you can look at it, and I want to talk about that next time I get a video in, which I promise I will be doing this semester. I have a lot of almost corrections on how I live my life week by week, and we'll talk about that too. We should talk about, things that you've learned last semester to apply to this semester. For me, it's a little things like getting more sleep, or getting sleep at all, no energy drinks, more reading for pleasure. I could go on for the list, but we'll save that for another time. Anyway, love your face, and I'll see you next time. That was creepy. Haha, so sorry. Ah, brownie time.